Good morning. My name is Stephen Sishi. I am the Automations and Drives Manager at APS, and welcome to the first webinar in relation to LOGO, a smart relay. I trust that everybody can see the presentations properly. If there are any issues, please feel free to put that into the chat, and we can then try and address this. With regards to the LOGO itself, we've indicated that it is what we call a logo or a logic device. Logic comes from the fact that you actually build it up out of logic. It can either be programmed in the form of function block diagram or alternatively as a ladder diagram. It's an intuitive device performance-wise. As mentioned prior to this, it is a smart relay, slightly more expensive than a standard contactor or a timer, but does not have the capabilities of an S7-1200, which is its bigger brother. With regards to the device, it is suitable for basic automation, and that can be done either at home or in different forms around building automation. I'm going to give you a couple of examples just to try and identify where they can be used. As previously mentioned, it is a basic or a nano type device. It is suitable to be mounted on a DIN rail within a switchboard or within a control cabinet. Performance-wise, if we look at performance versus complexity, we can see that LOGO 8 is lower in performance, but also lower in price than an S7-1200. It does not have any safety capabilities, whereas the S7-1200 would have safety capabilities, and then of course the most powerful CPU currently is the S7-1500. One important factor to remember is that the device can be used in a domestic environment because it does have noise emissions limit class B, and that conforms to local Australian standards. Moving along, the software is very intuitive. It can be installed on either a Windows or a Linux-based PC. It is usable without any detailed training, but based on the promotion that we will be offering, we encourage people to come and do the training, and at the end of it, there is an opportunity to get a logo. It is relatively small in size. It's economic cost-wise, and if we have a look at the device, hopefully you can see my mouse over here. It does have what we call an SD slot, and the SD slot is used for two specific reasons. So if we look at this, it can either be used to store a program, or alternatively, if we use the internal web-based server internally, it will actually store your HTML 5 pages. It is modular in design. It is available in three variants of voltages, and I'll cover those a little bit further. Communication modules are either what we call GPS, SMS, so we also have what we call a 4G LTE connection. KNX is used within a building automation application. The message display, so you can either get the unit with a display or without a display. If you do have a unit with a display, we've got the ability to change the colors. So in the event there's an alarm, we could change it to a red. And under normal circumstances, we could run it green or alternatively as an amber color. This does give us the ability to send messages to the operator in the event that they needed to have a look at that. A couple of applications just to have a look at it. Simple machines, so if we're looking at packaging machines, garbage compactors, conveyor belts, sorting machines. In building automation, we're looking at lighting. So in the event you wanted to come and have your light switched on prior to you entering, or get your heating up to a particular temperature, this can be achieved with this. We also have door and gate control as well as access control. And then miscellaneous applications, we're looking at pumping stations, so like remote pumping on farms, specialty vehicles, sauna applications, swimming pool, animal feeding, and the list goes on and on. With regards to connectivity, and I think this is important, we do have the ability to add on additional communication modules. I'll just try and run through a couple of the devices so at least we can just identify these. If we have a look at it, we've got the LOGO power supply on the very left-hand side. We also then have what we call a 4-port switch, which allows us to do connection to what we call the LOGO Soft Comfort software. The LOGO device is sitting in the center. We also have KNX devices. In Australia, we don't use the 2020, so the CMR 2020, we use the CMR 2040, because the 2020 is actually a 2G network, and that is not a 2G and 3G network, and that's not supported in Australia anymore. We'll either go with 3G, 4G. This also has the ability to have connectivity. And then if we look at a router connection coming through the text display, we'll use an open VNC to gain access, to make sure that no unauthorized people can actually access the device for programming or for diagnostics purposes. With regards to the device, there are 8 variants of this available. So 4 of these will be with a display, 4 will be without a display, and then if we look at a single logo application, we could have a maximum of 24 digital in, 20 digital out, 8 analog in, and 8 analog out. One thing to remember that depending on the unit, especially the 24-volt units, we've also got the ability to configure 4 of the inputs to be analog input, 0 to 10 volt. And then in addition, we have got extension modules which give us additional analog or RTU capability. I mentioned the integrated web server, which allows you to develop your own web pages, but there is a requirement for you to use an SD card, and that has to be put into the main CPU. Additionally, or some of the highlights of the logo, we can have logo to logo communication. We can also have what we call logo to HMI communication, so to a panel or comfort panel. We can have logo to S7 controllers, so that could be the 1200 or 1500. We can also do logo to Modbus TCP, and this can be any third-party Modbus TCP devices. And finally, we also have what we call logo to PC, and that's to do with time synchronization, but also to download the program. If you do have a device which has got the integrated screen, we'll have 6 lines and 16 characters. We'll still have the 3 backlit colors as previously mentioned. The logo text screen is slightly bigger and also incorporates 6 lines with 20 characters, 3 backlight colors, as similar to what the onboard display would have. The main benefit is there also are 2 Ethernet connections and 4 function keys. LOGO Soft Comfort gives us the ability to drag and drop devices straight onto a network and to configure and program these devices. There's also a royalty-free, what we call web server, which is available from the Siemens support website, which you can download to do your web design, and there's no HTML knowledge required in order to do this. In addition to this, we can also connect to the text display via an Ethernet connection. One very important point is that the logo has an Ethernet connection straight on board. So with a standard patch lead, we can connect this directly to our computers for programming capabilities. In the event that we are doing volume sales or an OEM type application, we have the option to use an SD card, which is on board, and we can then, by means of using the SD slot, which I'm identifying here with my mouse, we can then decide to upload a different program, or alternatively, we can also use it for data logging capabilities. Comfort Soft, or the Soft Comfort software, is programmed directly using Ethernet connection. We've got automatic IP address setting. We can download and change settings directly on the device. With regards to the web editor, this gives us the ability to generate our own web pages directly on the device, but we need to make sure that we are using either a panel or a web-based server using OpenVNC to gain access to it. In addition to this, if we have a look at it here, Within the Soft Comfort software, we can also get what we call a single line diagram or a network topology, which gives us the ability to link up to 16 devices directly on there. And it also shows us graphically what they look like. And going forward, it also then gives us a network layout which you can use for customers. The free demo software, so the Soft Comfort version 8.3 is available. It gives you the ability to simulate your program directly on board without having any hardware. The only thing is that it doesn't give us the ability to download it into a logo. In order to download this, we will need to purchase a copy of the LOGO Soft Comfort software. But as part of the promotion, we will include that. Highlights, very important. So there are 8 basic modules, 4 with display, 4 without, all with Ethernet directly on board, integrated web service. Temperature range will be -20 to +55 degrees C. We also have the external time server, which we can do synchronization on. So in the event that we have got a lighting control within a home, we can automatically adjust that for daylight saving. Integrated Modbus TCP, and then Logo Access, we can then access any data into Excel and add this into a sheet that we can use further. A very graphical overview of the product range. So if we have a look at the top here, we've got what we call 1224, 24 volt devices, and then also 230 volt AC. In addition to that, we also have units, so a base unit which doesn't have a display. We also have the ability to have a Logo power supply, and then the expansion modules are, if we look at like the DM8 is 4 digital in, 4 digital out. The DM16 is 8 digital in, 8 digital out. But some of these where we've got an R refers to that there's a relay, otherwise it refers to that it is a transistor. The AM2 is an analog input which can either be selected or set up as 0 to 10 volts or 4 to 20 milliamp. And then on the RTD side, we can either do PT100 or PT1000. And on the analog output side, if we were controlling a variable speed drive, we would then have the ability to send it out as an analog output either at 0 to 10 volts or alternatively 4 to 20 milliamp. The text display over here, which was previously mentioned on the slide, is a 6-line by 20 characters. Also still has 3 colors that we can select, integrated 2-port Ethernet on board, as well as 4 function keys to be used. With regards to the communication modules, the most important ones that we concentrate on is what we call the CMR 2040, which is the 4G LTE connection, and that also gives us the ability to do SMS, as well as then remote connectivity if we need to have that, and remote programming is done via OpenVNC. Then we also have what we call the KNX device, which I'm hovering here over here, and then we also have a 4-port switch, which allows us to then expand the connectivity and the networking capabilities. Logo Power is indicated on the bottom here, has got a number of variants, or 4 variants of those, either available in 0.6 amp, 1.3 amp, 2.5 amp, or 4 amp, and there are also variants available within 12 volt if needed. I'm now going to try and switch over to a video, so please can you just bear with me for a moment, and then I will try and share my screen, the video with you.
Imagine being away from home, but your house looks occupied. Imagine feeding your animals without being there. Imagine monitoring countless distributed pumps while sitting comfortably. Imagine knowing in advance when a machine will fail. Imagine making the IoT world your world. Nice idea. And now, simply do it. With integrated inputs and outputs, easy programming with drag and drop, multiple communication interfaces, integrated web server, customizable with Logo Web Editor, and with cloud functionality. Logo, small, but wow.
Siemens, ingenuity for life.
Thanks again, and look forward to presenting the next webinar.